Well, thank you everyone for coming out here today. Good morning. My name is Eric Durkee. I'm the Senior Director of Public Relations for Minnesota United. We apparently have a fondness for hosting events in the winter and in the cold. I remember the groundbreaking a couple years ago. It was 6 degrees. We had the column raising here last November. It was about 15 degrees, and today it's a balmy 25. So shout out to all the media members for coming here. You guys do not have it easy here in Minnesota compared to some of the warm weather states. So we sincerely appreciate you all joining us here today. We do have a really exciting announcement to make. We're standing in the gorgeous Allianz Field. It's about 95% complete, and so we're really happy that all you can make it out here today. But we are not here to hear me talk, so it's my great pleasure to introduce Minnesota United Chief Revenue Officer and St. John's alum, Brian Pfeiffer. Brian?
Okay, good afternoon. On behalf of Minnesota United, I want to welcome everyone today. In 88 days, we will get the keys to this beautiful stadium, and in a short time, we'll be playing football on the pitch behind me. Now, as you know, the global game of football has many great rivalries, including Barcelona, Real Madrid, Manchester City, Manchester United, even the USA, Mexico, to name a few. But today, we are going to focus on another classic football rivalry, and this one is a classic American football rivalry, a rivalry with over 100 years of history in the state of Minnesota, St. John's and St. Thomas. As a St. John's alum myself, along with a number of other members of our staff and ownership group even, that are graduates of both schools, we are honored to announce today that we will be hosting the St. John's St. Thomas football game on Saturday, October 19th, 2019. We think Allianz Field will be the perfect setting to help elevate the 89th edition of this great rivalry. Similar to Loon's home games, we anticipate the fan experience for this event will be loud, intimate, and in a perfect backdrop, only 2 minutes away from the campus of University of St. Thomas. With all the international, national, and local spotlight that will be on this stadium over the next year, we really look forward to carrying on the tradition of this great event. Now I'd like to introduce President of St. Thomas, Dr. Julie Sullivan.
Thank you, Bryant, and thank all of you for being here in attendance today. We are really delighted to be working with the Minnesota United on planning this game. They've been a wonderful team to work with, and we particularly thank Bryant, even though you are a Johnnie. My colleagues tell me that it's really been a pleasure to work with you and your team. So thank you so much for helping to really bring this event together. This is a really great rivalry. And I don't know about you, but I probably did not think that the interest that the Tommie Johnnie game had generated could be matched again in this decade. But yet, here we are today, planning a game for 2019 in this fabulous and beautiful facility, the new Allianz Field. This will be a great venue to host a really competitive rivalry, and we're really delighted about it. It seems that we keep upping the ante, actually, for this game, and I don't even, understand how that happens, but somehow we keep upping the ante, and it's a great Minnesota story, and it's a story that really attracts a lot of attention across the nation as well. This is a unique rivalry. It's an opportunity for our university community, our students, our alumni, our families, our friends, to come together and celebrate and strengthen their bonds as Tommies. It also is the same opportunity for the St. John's community. But perhaps what makes it most unique is the other 364 days of the year, these Tommies and Johnnies are often members of the same families and are very close friends. As Bryant said, this is a long-standing tradition. The first game, the first Tommie-Johnnie rivalry, our first contest, was played in 1901 at Old Lexington Park, right here in this neighborhood, just a few blocks away. So it's really fitting that in 2019, 118 years later, we will be making our way just a short few blocks down the road from the University of St. Thomas back to this neighborhood for another great St. Paul gathering. So we're delighted to be here, and we're looking forward to October 2019. Thank you. And now it is my pleasure to introduce our head football coach, Coach Glenn Caruso.
Thank you, President Sullivan, and thank you to Minnesota United and Allianz's leadership for the opportunity. Certainly, there's a lot that we're going to have to go through in the next almost year, and looking forward to doing that with two great organizations. Look, really neat experience and really neat opportunity. I think a lot of times that people look at a football coach or any sport coach, whether it's a rivalry school, whether it's St. Thomas, at different levels, sometimes you don't understand what the ultimate job is. Our ultimate job as coaches, or at least mine as I see it, is to provide the best experiences for our student athletes so that in a very holistic way they can become a great version of themselves. There's a lot of things that go into that, and most of the time that the cameras are on and everyone's here, you see a small snippet. It's important that we try and maximize everybody's potential that we coach on game day. And you see that all the time, and I think we do a decent job. But I think if you dig deeper, a move like this speaks more to the overall experience of the student athlete, to give them experiences that will round them out. And that's why we go to Italy and Ireland to play, and we go and try and give them different experiences. This beautiful facility and this opportunity is one of those experiences. And one of the reasons why I think it's entirely appropriate that United and Allianz has decided to have a Division III program here is because we do take time specifically to look at the student athlete and those things that are afforded to them. And I think we do pretty good on the field, and that's part of our job. But I think our student athletes do a phenomenal job in the classroom, and that's marked by having over 50 people on the dean's list and setting a record at 19 Hampshire Award winners. I think we do a great job with our community outreach and the responsibility to a greater good, and that's why we log thousands of hours and lead the nation in terms of fundraising for groups like St. Jude Children's Research. But this move here is also afforded us an opportunity to give a unique, decidedly Minnesota experience to our student athletes. So I'm sure we will answer any and all questions that you guys have. We're not going to be leaving anytime soon, but a neat day to kick off, no pun intended, what's going to be a fun 9-10 months leading up to this experience. And that gives me a chance to introduce a man who I have great respect for. Coach Foshing, the head coach at the University of St. John's University, is a guy who I've known now for 12 years. He is a fantastic football coach and an amazing man. And I am a big believer that a rising tide raises all boats. And I know that the boats at St. Thomas are raised by the work that has been done by other schools that we get a chance to compete with. And it's an honor to be able to introduce him and to have him speak to you. So without further ado, Coach Gary Foshing.
That might be the best introduction I've ever gotten. That was fantastic. Thanks, Glenn. I want to also thank Minnesota United. I actually have a daughter that works for Allianz, so I know she's very proud of this place, and we are too. And just to kind of echo what Glenn was saying about, I think this is a great opportunity for our young men to be a part of something special. 2 years ago we played at Target Field, and that was a great experience. Our guys still talk about that. But that was on a baseball field. And I think this is going to be a much different environment and a much different atmosphere. And our rivalry with St. Thomas is certainly one of the best in the country at any level. And our kids have great respect for St. Thomas. Our coaching staff has great respect for what Glenn does over there. And we know it's going to be a great game. And we're looking forward to it. It's a chance to highlight and to showcase what these two schools are all about. And I'm proud that we get to be a part of it, and I know our kids are too, and they'll be excited to come here to Allianz Field and be the next chapter in this great rivalry. So thanks, everybody. We look forward to being here next October.